Shaina Hammer. I'm a doula here in Beit Shemesh. And wait, before we start, can we talk about my needle that's in my ear?
She's got, you can see this tiny little needle in Shenmen, her ear. Can I tell them you've got dental?
Yeah, I'm getting a dental. I'm going to the dentist later, and I'm a little bit freaking out about it. So Esther.
Yeah, so we just put in like the Xanax point just to really chill her out.
Yeah, and I feel very chilled out.
Zen.
Yeah. So Esther is a Chinese medicine practitioner, and she also makes placenta pills. So I wanted to meet with Esther today so that you can make better decisions for yourself about if this is something that you would be interested in or not, and if it's something that you want to do. I know there's a lot of talk about it now recently, and people are still not 100% sure about it. They're not. Some people don't feel so comfortable with the whole idea. So I wanted to clear up a few things with Esther. So maybe you can just tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got into it.
Sure. So reason why people want to give me their placenta to turn them into pills, which is a strange thing, is because it really helps with postpartum experience. It balances the hormones so that the mother will experience less postpartum depression, less baby blues, really increases lactation, increases her iron because it's full of iron. And overall,
which a lot of women are lacking after baby and before.
I had one client who she would need the Venifere infusions after every pregnancy because she was so anemic.
Mm-hmm.
And after that birth where she took the placenta, she didn't need those infusions at all.
Wow.
Her numbers are way up there.
Wow.
So it's made by the mother for the mother, fully digestible, and it's like a perfect supplement postpartum.
Wow. And how did you get into doing this?
So as a student in Chinese medicine, I was expecting and I was starting my family, and people asked me what I was doing with the placenta, and I said nothing. That's gross. I'm not going to touch it.
Right.
And they're like, no, you should eat it. Make a stew. I was like, no, thank you. But I did research it more, and I saw that one could turn it into a capsule, and it had all these benefits, all these really wonderful properties. And so I ended up doing it with my second, and I really had an amazing experience. It helped me be a better mother.
And you really saw a difference, and you feel like it's because of your placenta.
Yeah, it was a direct correlation between my mood and my milk supply and just my general agility and ability to cope with the very scary situation of being a mother of two little kids.
Yeah. Yes. So let's talk about the benefits of the placenta. So we spoke about iron. What else do these pills help you with?
So the oxytocin in the pills help with maternal bonding, and that also helps with postpartum pain. If anyone's had a physically traumatic birth, or after a C-section, or postpartum cramping, these pills really help to nourish the body and balance the hormones. The reason why some women do get postpartum depression is because at the last month, the 9th month of pregnancy, the body is just bathed in these hormones. And most of them work on what's called a negative feedback system. It's almost like milk in your fridge. If you've got 2 packs of milk in your fridge, when you go shopping, you're not going to buy more milk. You're going to wait till you're low. So these hormones are not being produced actively because the body's just full of them. Mm-hmm. And then once delivery happens, there's a stark drop of these hormones, and it takes a while for the body to reproduce them and deliver them properly.
Which will explain all the interesting moods that
right.
go
that
on.
could. I mean, researchers are not 100% sure, but it could be a biological reason for postpartum depression. So if a woman were to take in her placenta before that drop, say within like the first few days after delivery, it would prevent that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, it helps hormonally and with mood, and those same hormones help produce the milk and overall help her feel like a human being.
So if you have experienced baby blues and postpartum depression, or you have a predisposition to it from your family,
right.
then this is something that you should look into and
and even if you've taken psychological medication to manage your mood before pregnancy. It's also a good idea because then you can nurse while taking the placenta pills, whereas some mood treatment you can't.
It's not good for the baby, right?
So it's good for the
also about nursing. Is this something that helps with the milk?
Absolutely. Prolactin inside the placenta will increase milk production, and some women see it like immediately. They know if they're going away, if they need a pump, they'll take an extra pill, and their supply will be much better.
So is this something that you recommend for all women?
So most women will benefit from it. Some women that shouldn't consume their placenta are women who had hyperemesis gravidarum during their pregnancy, because it's those pregnancy hormones that have unfortunately made them very unwell.
Right.
So 50%. So the study is 50% of the placentas of women who had HB hyperemesis shouldn't take it, and I wouldn't recommend anyone take the risk because we don't want to find out if you're that 1 in 2. But I just give the information. But most women who I meet who's had hyperemesis, and I tell them there's a 1 in 2 chance it could bring back your symptoms. No way.
No way. keep that placenta far away.
Yeah. Usually those women feel amazing after birth. They're like, I'm gonna do everything.
They go through so much and just take that placenta away from me.
Right. So or if a woman's had fever during her delivery, the placenta could be contaminated. But usually in those cases they'll just take the placenta straight to pathology. There won't even be a chance if there was any sort of complication like that.
Okay, so which leads me to my next question. If somebody if they were interested in this, and they have a hospital delivery, how do they get their placenta? Is this something that they need to talk to their midwife about?
So they should let everybody know who's going to be participating in the birth, whether it's their own doula or their own partner, or the hospital midwife or a doctor or a nurse. Yes, they should let everybody know. Thankfully in Israel, the policies are to let the parents take home their placenta, which is beautiful, and some hospitals will even let package it up for you. But that's what you need to prepare for. You need to prepare to keep the placenta cool. Most likely the hospital doesn't want to take responsibility for keeping it cool, so you have about 2 hours after birth to get it into a cooler with ice, or into a fridge or a freezer, and you sort of want to treat it like a piece of meat. Mm-hmm. It could stay okay in the fridge.
Don't leave it in your car.
Don't leave it in your car. It's so disappointing if that would happen. It could stay okay in the fridge for up to 3 days, and if you see that for whatever reason you can't get it to a placenta specialist by then, put it in your freezer. And it could stay well in the freezer up to a year.
Until they come over to you and bring you their placenta.
Right. Last 2 nights ago, I picked up a placenta from a woman who gave birth in June. And it's been in the freezer, and now it's in my dehydrator. So it's just, these things happen.
Okay. And about your dehydrator. So can you tell us a little bit about what you do with the placenta?
So the placenta is usually steamed first thing. I rinse it off, and then I steam it. And that puts in a lot of warming qualities so that the placenta is easily digested by the mom. And then I slice it and I dehydrate it in a specialized dehydration machine. It's like not dehydrated in my oven with my chicken and stuff. And then once
do people ask you that when they come over your house to eat?
So my husband will make very bad jokes while we're eating the chillin'. Like,
tastes like placenta.
But in my home, everything is separate. And God willing, I hope to bring my placenta service into this office. So it'll be completely.
So you don't need a third section in your kitchen for placenta.
It'll free up a whole cabinet. And once the placenta is completely dried, I grind it down into powder, and I put the powder into capsules. And just pop them in.
Yeah, that seems like a very easy way to digest a placenta, because I know other people do it different ways.
Yeah, one could make a stew, one could make a smoothie, one could make ice cubes, but I find this is the most compliant way where mom will actually get them down. And also from a halachic point of view, it's not b'derech achila, it's not the normal way we eat something. So is sort of really keeps it in that medicinal category.
Right. And so this is 100% kosher, right?
So it's not considered kosher. It's not considered treif. It's permissible. It's 100% mutar.
Because it's not food.
It's not food at all. Yeah. And when I had that same question, my rabbi, who's also my brother, Rabbi Dov Kornreich, he wrote me a psak with all of the sources showing that it's permissible to consume the placenta, especially for medicinal need. And I sent that psak, I have it in English and in Hebrew, to other families who want to show it to their rabbi in order to get approval or the opinion from their rabbi. Every rabbi has their own perspective, and every family has their own situation. And so some rabbis will say, okay, it's mutar across the board, but some families want to just check with their own rabbis, and that's totally fine. This psak is very important because it shows a halachic precedence, a precedence in Jewish law for families to use the placenta. So it won't just be like the first rabbi I asked who said, oh, that's disgusting, don't do it. And then I didn't do it, and I wish I had. Mm-hmm. So it's allowed. It's mutar.
Okay, and is every placenta meant for every woman? Like your placenta is for you and my placenta is for me, or do you?
So for the most part, yeah, my placenta was meant for me. It's made out of me, perfect synergy with my body. There are some cases where a woman might need to use placenta but doesn't have her own. Like in cases of fertility or postmenopausal, or if sadly a woman wasn't able to keep her own placenta but she's suffering from postpartum depression. Unfortunately, I can't help them in that situation. I don't really play matchmaker, but the best thing for them to do would be to find a friend who's expecting or who would give them the placenta. And the reason why people don't or shouldn't share placentas is because it is genetic material, it's blood material. If somebody has a bloodborne pathogenic disease such as hepatitis B or HIV or babiosa, what do you call it, Lyme disease, then the other person could contract it. There's a very small chance, but there's no way to completely kill these diseases. So that way, if a woman herself has hepatitis B, there's no problem with her taking her own placenta because she already has it. But if she were to share it with somebody else, or if the equipment that was used wasn't cleaned properly, that also brings us to another subject of safety, then it could transmit those diseases to someone else. So if you are hiring somebody to be your placenta specialist, you have to make sure they're properly trained in bloodborne pathogens and sanitation and otherwise. But if someone's doing it for themselves, like Bekef, it's, just keep throw out the pot when you're done type of thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. And if any of you have encapsulated your placenta and have experiences before, you can let us know how your experience was. And if you want to know more about Esther, I'll leave her information and you can contact her if you have any questions. Thanks so much. Thank you.
This was such a pleasure, Shaina.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.